Alright, hello everyone. This is a basic tutorial and kind of intro to ScuffedWalls along with how to use the text-to-wall function, which is the first function that we are going to be learning about in ScuffedWalls. The most important thing that you need right now is making sure you have the newest version of Noodle extensions, or just have Noodle extensions installed to your plugins folder, and then downloading the ScuffedWalls exe, which is right here, the ScuffedWalls exe from the GitHub. So once you have that, setup's pretty easy. I'm going to talk about the basic stuff that you need that really are just good for setting up ScuffedWalls. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're probably going to want to set up FPFC mode, which is a way for Beat Saber to be opened without using a VR headset. It's very simple. All you do is Steam, right click on Beat Saber properties, and open up this menu, and then in this launch options box, just type FPFC. Maybe press enter, click out, close that. Beat Saber will now launch, and you'll be able to use your mouse to open things. The next thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that you can escape from the Beat Saber stuff. So we're going to go to our Beat Saber folder, which I'm going to open through a shortcut, but if it is on your C drive, that's not what I'm trying to open. If it's on your C drive, it'll be C, Program Files, Steam Apps, Common, and then Beat Saber, and then all it will be is in your user data folder. You go down, you want to look for Sierra util.json, just right click, open with, you can do Visual Studio or Notepad, apparently Windows thinks you can do it in Dreamweaver, and you'll get something that looks like this. Now the two things you're going to want to change is right here where it says FPFC toggle, it's going to say enabled false. Just change this line to say true. And then here where it says song control enabled, change that also to say true. What this means is that in here, you can press the, I don't even know what this does, actually. This lets you toggle stuff. Song control means that when you press escape, so this key right here, when you press the escape key, it'll let you exit out of the song. If you press apparently F4, then it will let you restart the song, and then F2 will let you just pause it. So you want to change these, and then file, save, and then you're done. So now when you launch Beat Saber, you can move around and stuff, and you'll be able to escape the song without having to wait for it to play and then leaving through the menu. It's bad. So now that you have that set up, you're going to want to make sure that your map is it requires the correct extensions. So let's go ahead and open up Mediocre Mapper here. And the first thing we're going to do is take the map. I am using this Friday folder, and I will have a zip file in the Google Drive folder for ScuffedWalls. Just go to the just go to the additional files, and right there will be a zip file called friday.zip. From there, you can get this, unzip it, and just bring it into your work in progress folder. You should already know how to do that if you're doing ScuffedWalls. So edit. And then right here, I've added a difficulty, but this is just a copy of the expert. This was to just show what it will look like in ScuffedWalls later. So the first thing we want to do is make sure the difficulties are set up with the required extension. So you're going to want to select the difficulty, hit extra fields, and then right here, requirements. All we're going to type is Noodle extension, so Noodle extensions, and then click add. And then let's go ahead and we'll add in Chroma. So in case we want to use Chroma, we can type that, press add, and then hit apply modifications. So now only on the expert difficulty, you will now have the requirement for Noodle extensions and Chroma. If you notice, if I click the normal and I go to requirements, there's nothing there. It's only for this difficulty. And make sure you click apply, and then just save the song info, and that will save it to the info.dat. If you are somehow in ChromeMapper, as long as the map has Noodle extensions, it will automatically add this requirement. So you can just save the map later once we've added some ScuffedWalls functions to it, and it'll just automatically add that. So it should be fairly simple. Okay, now we're going to bring the map into ScuffedWalls. I'm going to be lazy and just open the songs folder directly from Mediocre. And never open a Noodle extensions map in Mediocre Mapper. It's not made to handle that. So just go to your work in progress folder or wherever the map is, and this is incredibly simple. Just click and drag the Friday folder and put it into ScuffedWalls just like this. And it will load up ScuffedWalls, and this is it. This is ScuffedWalls. Okay, and right there you can see that I have just added this little box right here. I'm resizing it so you can make sure you see it. And that is just a copy of the ScuffedWalls browser, or the ScuffedWalls window. That's for later if windows start to stack up, just so it's always on top. Just so you can see like what ScuffedWalls is doing, even if I'm not directly looking at it, just to make things clear. Now we are in ScuffedWalls, and we've imported the map, we've dragged it in, and it is going to ask, basically it's saying, what difficulty do you want? It's going to assign a value, so the expert standard.dat, the one we just added the noodle extensions to, or the noodle requirement to, is 0, and then the normal standard that doesn't have the stuff or anything, we haven't touched it, is 2. So we're going to type 0 and then enter. This is just going to say, okay, we're using the expert standard .dat. That's what we're going to add to later when we add stuff. Auto import map. This uses actually a function in ScuffedWalls called import, and it lets you bring stuff from one like difficulty.dat file into another. This one, it does it automatically, and it's basically going to back up the original file. So I have 2 Fridays here, so this is might get a bit tad, but this is the .dat with all the block placement and all the light information, all that mess. And so what it's going to do is it's going to back up this file in, let me get out of here, in our actual Friday folder. So in the work in progress one, it'll back up this expert standard.dat, and then it'll make a new one because ScuffedWalls automatically overwrites anything, or it automatically overwrites when you tell it to, when you're making a new thing. So it'll back up the original, it'll wipe the expert, and then it'll import the original into the expert. I can just show you this directly right now. So we're going to type Y, enter, and it's created a new ScuffedWalls file. So if we open up in the work in progress folder, just bring it over here, you can see in that bottom left, you can see we are now in a workspace 0, and it has created a ScuffedWalls file, which is this file right here, ScuffedWalls.sw. You can also see that we have a new expert standard.dat that is essentially the same as the old one. There's not a real big difference here, but there is also this old map.dat, which is the expert standard.dat before we basically duplicated it in ScuffedWalls. So for some reason, if you're halfway through noodling and you just decide you hate it and you just want to be a normal block map, you can quite literally delete this and then just rename this, you can delete the expert standard.dat, rename old map.dat to just be expert standard.dat, and it's just a backup. I mean, I'm explaining it simply, but it's a backup. It's fairly simple. So from here, now the big thing that we're going to do is we're just going to open this SW file. You can do it in a lot of places. You can open it with Notepad or Visual Studio because it's just a text document basically. So just open it in Notepad. That's what I'm going to open it in. And so right here, we can see this is quite literally a ScuffedWalls document. Right here, if you check, if we hit Control Save, in the workspace area in ScuffedWalls, essentially, you can see that it detected a save. So I can keep doing this, and it's just going to keep detecting the saves, and it's basically taking whatever's in this file, whatever changed, and adding it to the what it's doing. So basically, if I typed something here, I'll explain this later, but if I just type the blackout function and I press Control Save, you can see it shouldn't actually say blackout, but if the light designer was smart and it logged everything, it would say like added blackout, because it detected that blackout was added since the last change, imported it, whatever. We're going to get rid of this. If I hit Control Save again, there will now be no blackout. And we are actually going to use blackout, so there's no point in doing that. But that is essentially how you set up. If you want an example of what exactly the auto import did, it literally did a function called the import function, and then it did path, and it just imported the expert standard.dat into the old map into the new map. It just writes this on its own. That's all it is. You can do this manually on your own if you wanted. It would be so easy to do. Okay, and if in case you're wondering what exactly a function is, it is just kind of like ScuffedWalls doing things. So, or it's like how you do things in ScuffedWalls. Let me pull up the full doc here so I can just make sure I'm giving all this stuff right. So like if we use blackout here, what that quite literally does is it adds a single light off event into the map. And that's all it does. It just turns off lights. So, and you probably already know that, light mapping and miss. But it's a function. Now, the most important thing about functions is the number before them. You notice when I typed it, I did a 0:blackout. The 0 is the beat that the function will happen. With stuff like import or blackout, it kind of doesn't need a number. Like, it doesn't need to be there because it just happens. It doesn't happen at a certain beat. But it's there for neatness, so that way everything is logged, and everything here will be saved into by ScuffedWalls into the expert standard. So, control save. Now we have a blackout. Whatever. Okay, and that should be just about everything you need to know to get started with ScuffedWalls. Uploading at the same time, I am going to have how to use the text to wall function, which is the first thing in this little series of guides, I guess, I'm going to be doing. So you can go right there, because that'll be uploaded just as this is. So you can get started immediately. If you have any trouble with ScuffedWalls, you can try DMing me at RizTheSnuggie2634. It's in the description. You can try DMing me on Discord, or you can DM the creator, Light Designer, also on Discord in the description. Probably do him first. He knows much more about the program than me and has way too much free time, in my opinion. But yeah, just feel free to ask any questions, or if there's a specific function you would like me to cover very soon, I can also do that, because why not?